Okay, recording this video after close of trade Wednesday 19th September 2012. I'm afraid these videos will be a little bit out of sync for a while, just trying to get back into the time zones here, so you're kind of getting these. If it's by email, it's kind of a day late. You can always go to the site and these will kind of be up before the open of the next day, or subscribe by RSS reader instead of email. But anyway, let's talk about today's activity. About 1.1 million contracts traded, about 8 points of range, so a little bit more volume, a little bit more range. It's kind of good, some good trades to be had. And with today's activity, we have made now a pullback to end of trend sequence on the 45-minute chart. When you're looking at higher time frames, I always like this kind of ratio 3 between my time frames. So on the daily day trading charts, I'm starting with a 500 tip bar chart going up to 1500 and then 4500. When you're looking at higher time frames, in order to get a picture of kind of the bigger picture, using a daily time frame heading up to that, you can use a 45-minute chart, multiply that by 3, that gives you 135-minute chart, and there are 335-minute bars in a day session of the E-mini. So when you've got an extension like this, we're in an uptrend because we're above resistance on the daily chart. To look for where this might kind of end, you can look for end of trend signals on the lower time frames, and then you'll see these kind of end of trend signals start to kind of percolate through the different time frames. So as a place to kind of end this move, that kind of makes sense, and we've kind of sold down pretty hard in the end of the day, the last 45 minutes of the day, you can see here, and also in the after hours we've continued down with some bad numbers, I think, out of China and Japan, so we're down at like 48, something like that at the moment. So that's a place where we can see this kind of extension coming to rest and kind of starting to drift back. The next place to look for support, so we'll have weakness until we find support on the middle time frame, so coming into a pullback and an uptrend on the 135-minute chart will be the kind of next level, and then making another push pullback to end of trend on the 135-minute chart. And then I'm always, because there are limits to what you can do with day data only, I really like my tip bars. The 45-minute chart is very close to the 40,500 tip bar chart, which is the highest time frame tip bar chart, and you can see here with today's activity we've got that pullback to end of trend nicely signaled, and you can see this is in the after hours. We're down at the 47s here, and we had a push up, blue professional bar, but look at this. So the first one that we had a few days ago, pullback to end of trend, yeah, of course, that was a nice kind of place, but you can't account for news events. This is Bernanke kind of speaking, ramping the market, and we go into another sequence, pullback to end of trend. This first one here was Mario Draghi and so on, so we've had this second kind of sequence. But you can see as we've kind of gone through this whole move, less and less buying going on. We've got exhaustion buying, bearish, flush patterns, and the amount of buying that we had today, I mean, barely breached the zero line of this little kind of flip up. We had a little bit of excitement over the existing home sales kind of numbers, and then we pushed up into the into those highs and then kind of came off at the end of the day. So the 45-minute chart very close to the 40,500 tip bar chart, and so because we've had that pullback to end of trend, expect some kind of cyclical hopefully wide cyclical activity at these highs. And then in terms of today's trading, there was a couple of nice setups. One I took and took profits too early. The other one I was done trading, so I didn't take. You can see the overnight session. This is the Tuesday evening. We had this kind of ramp up and kind of dramatic fall into the 50s again. And initially the market kind of couldn't decide. We had these really wide ranges, and then we had the existing home sales numbers. We could see a whole bunch of blue professional bars kind of coming in here, just overshot the support level on the 1500 tip bar chart, but you can see these blue professional bars at the lows just in anticipation of the existing home sales numbers, and this thing just took off like a rocket as soon as that number kind of came out, which is around here. I was too slow to get into this. I tried to make a pullback to end of trend on the 500 tip bar chart kind of move here, but it didn't work out. So I was kind of 3 trades in, quarter of a point down at that point, and then so coming into the lows here, you can see this sell-off is being driven by the amateurs, Rambo patterns down here, and exhaustion selling. I always talk about Rambo patterns with exhaustion patterns are unstable, so that means the market is being led by the amateurs here, and we kind of run out of selling volume at that point. So because it's amateur activity, just watch out for those. Sometimes they'll end up with little spike reversals, exactly what we got here. So as soon as we put in our bullish divergence signal here, you can see blue professional bars, the pros kind of coming in at these lows here. That's where I went long at 54.50, and the target was set at 48.50, 4 points away from that, and it did get to there. But I took profits just after here at this point here for 2 3/4 points, just because, let me just show you this on the 500 tip bar chart. We had a pullback to end of trend sequence at that point. All these blue professional bars kind of came in here and it started to lose a little bit of juice. So it did need to make pullback to end of trend on the 1500 tip bar chart, and it pushed through to 58s and did make it there. But we've had these incredibly slow days kind of over the last few days, and so I was just happy to get out with a decent move. I was worried that sometimes we just don't seem to get the power of the overshoots, the real kind of moves into trend moves. So there was more in it, but I was happy to be out. So blue professional bars kind of buying in here after these exhaustion selling and bullish divergence kind of comes in, and on the flip side you can see the other trade kind of setting up here. So we'd had our exhaustion selling and bearish divergence come in, then we make pullback to end of trend. So this pattern kind of maxing out with exhaustion buying, and then price kind of confirms, and then second cyclical turn after end of trend right up here. And you can see that that's where all the blue professional bars kind of come in again at these highs at 58. The lows of that get taken out, and we go into this kind of steep decline. So there was a good little setup there, kind of mid-morning, and then there was a nice little setup at the end of the day into this sell-off here. So not bad in terms of sitting up there. Things to watch for is wait in these kind of sequences for those end of trends, and then testing, wait for the professionals to show you the way up here, and then similarly here, bullish divergence kind of comes in, wait for the professional to tell you what's going on kind of here. So I'll tag on that little day trade. It was a nice little one. With today's activity, let's see, we've sold off in the after hours, so this has kind of gone, we're looking for anywhere to get in basically on a pullback on these kind of time frames. So let's see what happens today. I hope your trading went well. Yeah, just long 54.50, long 54.50, and just had a couple of blue professional bars come in here on the 1500 tip bar chart. You can see on these kind of moves down. So initially the moves kind of being led by the amateurs, rainbow patterns kind of up here, but we come back down, and the 53s, blue professional bars at the lows here, we kind of settle down into this 1500 tip bar chart. You can see them there, and rainbow patterns with exhaustion volume is always unstable, and it looks like professionals kind of came in here. This is a test back down, the amateurs getting wrong-footed, coming the other way, and then the next time the professionals step in as we're making bullish divergence and coming back into 53s. So we've got resistance there to break above. We've got support on 4500 tip bar chart, having had this exhaustion selling, and on 500 we kind of had kind of these bullish divergence patterns. So this 55 level kind of breaking through there will be a kind of sign that that was professional accumulation. We're going to test the highs. So let's see where this goes. Long 54.50. But here we go. It's just getting the break above 55s, and more blue professional bars kind of coming on the 1500 tip bar chart on the lows there, breaking the highs of that. So we're kind of getting this thing going. So we're through resistance on 1500. We've got support behind us on 545. At some point we'll get a resistance kind of print, and hopefully it'll kind of run into a trend move. Highs at 57. So again, kind of coming up to 57 is going to get interesting. So let's hold on. Yeah, well, here we go, back up to 57. So broken into uptrends on the 500 and 1500. 13,000 on better momentum, which is a pretty big reading. We're coming through 57s. Pro signal exits kind of gone off because we got these professional bars. They could be just behind the breakout. Let's just wait and see. This has got to make pullback to end of trend. I'm just wondering if I'm going to move my target out, but I'll just leave it for the time being. This thing's kind of turned exponential. We come through 57s, running a bunch of stops. Got 17,000 on better momentum. We've got blue professional bars kind of coming in here. I'm keeping my target where it is just because the ranges have been so compressed over the last few days. Just be glad to get out with a 4. So let's see. We've got to make pullback to end of trend yet on the 500 tip bar chart. Just coming off a little bit with rainbow patterns here. Another exhaustion pattern, pro signal exit on 1500. So let's just hope for another little push up. So we just had rainbow patterns up at 58s, just waiting for this to kind of do a final little push up. Just need 58.5s to be out. We've got all these blue professional bars and really high readings, so it's kind of a sensible place to get out, but just need another little push. So let's just hold on for a little bit longer. Okay, well it's gone really quiet, but amateur down bars kind of in this. Pullback's just gone off, pullback and uptrend on the 500 tick bar chart. Amateur bars here, rainbow pattern here, so this is actually quite big sign, 11,000 on better momentum, kind of selling off here, so just taking profits. So just I'm hoping this will pull back to end of trend will play out. We'll just push through 58s, run a few stops up here and just get taken out at 58.5. About 57.25. For 2 3/4 points. Shame about that. Went pull back to end of trend. Blue professional bars kind of coming at 500. It's incredibly slow, kind of going up here. Just, you know, we got pull back to end of trend. We've got this kind of cyclical resistance kind of coming on the 4,500. It's just a risk that this is just going to run out of steam and not break above 58s. So 2 3/4, had a 1/4 point loss on the 3 trades kind of prior, kind of net, so it put me up, puts me at 2.5 points for the day. So not huge, but at least it's up, so it's a good thing. So just going to watch it. Was it 10:52 a.m.? Yeah, just one of these all too frequent days now. Slow.